Right now on the overview, could the office go virtual permanently? Will women come back from the she session? And how you've made your current work from home work for you. I don't know about you, but I am getting pretty sick of working from home, AKA the garage here, because going remote has really changed so much of the way we collaborate, the way we all connect with each other, the way we learn. But guess what I just got my hands on? One of those VR headsets, and whoa! If we can literally be in two places at once, could virtual reality be the future of work? Firing this up, whoa! Huh. This is much nicer than my backyard. Oh, I'm gonna walk into my garage. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait, can I come closer to you? Oh. Ah! Okay, that's real life. Ooh, I'm at 14%. Story of my life. All around the world, offices are sitting empty, and a lot more conference rooms are looking like this. Hey, guys. But as more and more companies extend their work-from-home policies and debate over whether the office is even necessary, one recent study found that 87% of employees do feel that a physical space is important for collaboration and team building. So, could working together in a virtual world give us back what we're missing? Oh, that's crazy. Some estimates say companies will boost business spending on VR tech and use by more than $4 billion by 2024. And with more affordable, user-friendly headsets, the future's starting to feel a lot more like the present. So I decided to give it a whirl. And first, you gotta build an avatar. Give yourself a name. Okay. Gadi. Choose body type. This looks kind of about right. All right, so this is my avatar here. Ready and pixelated, we jumped into the world of digital workspaces with the help of Anand Agarawala.
What's up, man?
Going?
How's it going?
Give me a high 10. Going down low.
There we go.
He's a co-founder of Spatial, a virtual meeting platform that launched in May of 2020.
So welcome to Spatial. Here's $5.
He says over the last year, Spatial has seen a 1,000% increase in users and hosted over 500,000 meetings. Anyone able to access the workspaces through VR and AR, augmented reality, where virtual images appear over the real world, or through the web. Anand gave me a tour, showing off just some of the places we can visit.
Go over here and just check out this nice pixelated landscape.
Wow.
As COVID's hit, people have been using Spatial in all kinds of different ways, not just kind of cracking champagne and flinging dollar bills, but for different types of meetings. So if we were in a board meeting, for example, we can actually switch the environment up. We're now seated around a boardroom table. We can be professionals. So we added this cool auditorium environment.
The software allows you to add real-life backgrounds to your VR world, so we stopped by my garage. This is the side everybody sees, and then over here, this is the side only our special guests see. And finally, a quick teleport to New York.
Welcome to New York. This is my apartment in 3D.
It's a little messy in here.
It's a little, well, you know what? It's messier in real life.
Anand thinks the pandemic helped accelerate a trend that was already in the making.
It's kind of exciting in a way because we've got all these cool new technologies coming out like VR and AR that can help us really push forward what the future of work means.
And Spatial is not the only immersive platform. Arthur, Striver, and Infinite Office from Facebook, which also owns Oculus, are betting this is the future. But before we start overhyping a Matrix-like workplace, let's not forget the real world too soon. Do you think VR is about to go mainstream?
If by mainstream, is VR going to be as big as PCs or tablets or phones? Absolutely not in the near future.
Addie Robertson, a senior reporter for The Verge, has been covering VR for almost a decade.
VR headsets often can make people motion sick. They cost money and they're a piece of electronics not everybody has.
Whether you're on your own, running a small business, or at a Fortune 500, we think VR can help you work better.
If you tie being able to work to a piece of hardware that's kind of niche, sort of expensive, then you're shutting a lot of people out of having a sort of optimal experience.
It seems like VR has two things kind of going against it. It's still relatively expensive, and it still has this like dorkiness factor.
Oh, it has so much of a dorkiness factor.
What are the benefits of that physical place, even though it may be virtual?
I mean, for one thing, you get to take a break from your apartment. And also, you get to have a sense of collaboration that you sometimes can't with something like a video call.
And if you're wondering where all this even came from, well, some trace its roots back to the stereographs of the 19th century. But it wasn't until the 1960s and 70s that things got real interesting. Breakthroughs like the Sensorama put you right in the middle of what you're watching. In 1968, we saw the first head-mounted display. All of this paving the way for the VR boom of the 80s and 90s. Astronauts using them to train, all while the gaming industry was anxious to create new worlds.
And then at a certain point, it drops off because the technology is just really expensive, really wonky.
But in 2012, a new era.
And you get the current VR boom, which is much, much more consumer and home-oriented than any of the previous booms, because this is the first time people can really buy good VR hardware.
Which brings us to where we are today, the cheapest and smallest VR headset so far, on the cusp of going mainstream and opening up a whole host of possibilities for the office, for education, entertainment, even healthcare.
I want to show you some things that we have been doing even before the pandemic, but especially in the pandemic proved vital for our lab and our processes.
I sat with the precision medicine team from Weill Cornell Medicine. They've been using mixed reality to unravel the secrets behind a patient's genetic makeup.
So if you actually put these together and kind of scale it to size, you will see exactly all the different atoms.
So we analyze all this big, complex information as a means to inform our clinicians of how they can provide tailored treatments for a myriad of diseases, spanning from cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other kind of diseases.
At the start of the pandemic, these doctors and researchers living all over the world started meeting virtually.
The whole virtual reality, augmented reality has enabled us to carry out important pilots during the pandemic, and it has allowed us to increase our productivity. It's not the headset or the technology that saves people's lives, it's our clinicians. What I feel that this whole mixed reality has offered is new bleeding edge tools that we thought were unattainable and are now, from the gaming industry, are becoming more relevant in medicine and other fields. And the impact of medicine is having the potential of saving people's lives.
And while the work potential is there, what about for things that are, well, a little less work?
Wouldn't it be cool to just literally sit on your couch and be watching the game with your friends, even though you're not together, right?
You and I are in this space together right now. It almost feels like this is like a fourth dimension.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, because we're in two different places. We're coast to coast, and we feel like, we're literally like can reach out and just high five and, like touch someone.
So who knows where the future is going to take us, but one thing we learned that will always be true?
No.
You gotta stay charged.
Did it turn off? Something happened. Mine's dead.
After the break, the toll this pandemic has taken on women when it comes to the workplace. All right, we've talked about virtual reality, but here is the truth about real reality. The pandemic has pushed so many people working from home to the brink, and who is bearing the biggest brunt? Women. NBC News' Simone Boyce looks at how COVID-19 exposed the burden working mothers have had to juggle for decades.
Balancing remote work with the baby has been challenging, to say the least, but I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones because my husband and I are able to share the responsibility with my mom.
For millions of other women, this hasn't been the case.
My only option was to go to work and figure out how to get remote learning done at the same time. My job was my only source of income, so I couldn't afford to lose that. I couldn't afford to not have food on the table and put clothes on my son's back. I had to come up with a plan.
The pandemic has flipped the workforce on its head, especially for women.
It's been an emotional, mental, physical roller coaster, literally.
But there's hope that with the vaccine, we will slowly get back to normal. But was normal ever really working for parents, and specifically moms?
Chase. You know, where they say it takes a village to raise a child, that has a whole new meaning.
How was school today?
I have no village. I am the village. We're everything for each other.
Tina Carroll is a single mom in Denver. Her son Chase is a 7-year-old first grader.
Bye, have a good day.
So I'm finally headed to work after a long morning.
When the pandemic hit, Tina went into survival mode.
Good morning.
Her job at the University of Colorado, Denver, still requiring her to be on site, while Chase went into virtual learning.
We are ready to learn today.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hi, good morning.
Remember that plan Tina mentioned? Well, she assembled a group of 8 tutors, students from local universities that she hires, who take turns looking after Chase at home while she's away.
Good job, that is good.
I think it's been very difficult. He's almost managing what's going on at home while I'm managing what's going on at work. I depend on him for quite a lot to make things work. That's the part that makes me emotional, because I need him.
What kind of financial burden has that brought on for you?
It's been a very expensive financial burden. However, I was willing to eat a little less in order to make sure that they were compensated.
Let that sink in for a minute. She's eating less so her son can get an education. Almost a quarter of children under 18 in the U.S. live with a single parent. And out of those households, roughly 8.5 million are single moms like Tina, who actively have to balance childcare responsibilities with work.
Do you feel like your work is understanding of what you're going through right now?
I think so, but I think that for so long we lived in a culture where your kids were there, but it wasn't really a conversation. It wasn't really talked about. This year, I've had some of the most difficult conversations to say, like, yes, you are my bread and butter, but then this is my child.
Let's get into some of the facts. Since the start of the pandemic, upwards of 2 million women have left the workforce. Some let go, others by choice. In September alone, when the school year was ramping up, roughly 865,000 women dropped out of the workforce, a rate 4 times higher than men. And unemployment rates have consistently remained higher for women of color since March of last year. COVID has pushed Black mothers in particular out of the workforce at a rate higher than any other group. And that is largely attributed to increased childcare responsibilities at home.
This is not an issue that we can sweep under the rug or afford to continue to not address.
Nicole Mason has spent her career advocating for gender and racial equality, especially in the workplace. She's also a single mom of 11-year-old twins.
The pandemic has exposed so much, including the impossible burden that many women were juggling, trying to sustain a career and work and also juggling caretaking responsibilities.
In a 2018 study, 2 years before COVID, women were 8 times more likely than men to look after sick children or manage their children's schedules.
The reality is that work doesn't stop just because you have a sick child or you have caretaking responsibilities. You're supposed to be able to do both without complaint. And I think this moment, many women have said enough is enough.
What will it take for things to actually change, though?
At the federal level and at the state level, I really do think this is an opportunity for us to think about a national child care infrastructure that will really go a long way towards supporting working women.
Mothers now just leave the children at the service center.
The U.S. had a glimpse of universal child care during the Second World War, where under the Lanham Act, families of all income were eligible for federally funded child care. This was to help mothers support the war effort.
All's well on the junior shipyard front.
And in 1971, a bill that would have created a national network of government-funded child care centers made it all the way to President Nixon's desk with bipartisan support, only for him to veto it, saying it would weaken the family.
The blinders have been taken off the American people. They're ready to insist that people have child care and access to it.
The Biden administration could make childcare more affordable and accessible. He campaigned on childcare tax credits and universal preschool for 3- and 4-year-olds. And a group of 50 female celebrities, business leaders, and activists are pushing Biden to act in his first 100 days. writing an open letter in the New York Times calling for a Marshall Plan for moms. They're asking for monthly stimulus checks to moms, paid family leave, affordable childcare, and pay equity.
We still operate as if we live in the 1960s or 1950s in terms of the workforce. We need to start talking more about the false choice of women choosing to live to have children versus they have no other choice because the workforce, as it's currently configured, is not set up to accommodate a working woman who becomes a mother.
But change at the federal level is going to take time. So how do we get women back to work now?
We need to connect moms to accelerated economic opportunity to be able to override the impact of COVID.
Colleen Curtis heads up community engagement at the Mom Project. It's a startup aimed at getting women employed, regardless of where they are in their career, and keeping them in the workforce. Since 2016, they've helped fill roles at over 2,000 businesses, including Apple, Google, and Netflix. The Mom Project is part of a growing network of companies centered around women at work, not only advocating for employment opportunities, but cultural change within businesses as well.
We just did a study actually that showed that 66% of moms feel much more confident advocating for what they need at work. If nothing else, this forced us to have to talk about what we really need to be able to be successful and feel balanced in our lives.
What do you think the pandemic has exposed about work for moms and single moms?
We're going to always choose family. And I think that's what I've had to do is to say no. Whereas before it was like, I can make that happen. I think I can do that. But it is exposed that no is a part of my vocabulary.
And one last thing, it's almost been a year now since our bedrooms, our kitchen tables, or our garages have turned into our workplace. Our pets have become our desk mates. We've realized our partner is the let's circle back guy, and that the kids are the real CEOs. Whatever it is, we have loved seeing your offices, and now I'm gonna add mine here. Ooh, that's you guys right there. Hope you guys like it. Keep watching more episodes on The Overview on Peacock, and we'll see you soon.